Hello and welcome back to The Content Bite. We're a podcast to help writers of all kinds create a thriving business and a career that they love. I'm Rachel Smith, a journalist, copywriter, content producer, and the founder of Rachel's List. I'm here with my co-host Lynne Testoni. Hello, Lynne. How are you?
Hi again, Rach. I'm really well. It's lovely. It's a beautiful day and everything's all good in my world. So my name is Lynne Testoni and I'm a content creator, writer and journalist. And today's episode is all about building a powerful network with a special guest, Tory Archbold. Networking. I think it's a word that drives fear into some people's hearts, but I think Tory's got a great take on it, and she calls it connecting rather than networking. And she's developed some really easy and I think introvert-friendly ways to connect with people and help using those connections to take your business to the next level. So Tory, welcome. And you want to tell us a little bit about yourself and your background?
So firstly, girls, it's so great to see you. And networking anyone can do, connecting anyone can do as well. And I'm a big believer in human connection. So I might just start with a bit of a background as to why the power of connection is so important, especially when you're either starting a business or in a professional or freelance capacity. So I started Tourstar over 20 years ago. It ended up being a global brand communications agency, attracting the world's top performing retailers, celebrities, and influencers. And believe it or not, I started off with no media contacts and no money in the bank. So How do you attract these brands, these celebrities, these influencers? And when we talk about them, they really are the top 10 in every category that you can think of around the world. Now, it started with me picking up the phone and asking people for coffee dates, because what I recognized is if I was going to truly attract what I deserved and if I was going to build a global agency, I needed to have a powerful network. Meeting people for coffee, and we are talking in COVID times as well, this could now be a virtual coffee. It's a power of human connection, and it's an exchange between two people that really allows you to get to know each other. Most importantly, what you can offer each other and what a partnership would look like moving forward. Now, when you have these coffee dates, it's all about the energy, it's all about the connection, but most importantly, it's all about the follow through. And that's how I secured my first client, David Jones, which in those days was the most powerful retail brand in Australia. And then I went on to attract the likes of Zara, which I launched into Australia, Nespresso, I launched Sea Folly globally. And my last three big clients were actually the biggest brand names in American retail. I was responsible for launching Victoria's Secret, Steve Madden and Drew Barrymore into Australia. Now, a lot of people say, how did you attract all of these? How did you start with no money in the bank and no network? And it's a great question, because it was the power of 3 coffee dates a week. And I've done that throughout my entire career. And it's
3 coffee dates.
It's the reason why I am today. Yeah.
Wow, that's so interesting. I know, well, from Rachel's List and stuff that we hear at Rachel's List all the time, and even the surveys that we've done, that people, particularly freelancers, tend to really shy away from networking or the idea of networking. But I'm with you. I really do believe that a large network is essential in bringing you work and leads and referrals and all of that sort of stuff. I noticed in my own business, when I stopped being this writer in the garret and actually came out of the garret and started meeting people and broadening my network, my income dramatically increased. And that's no coincidence. I mean, do you think that freelancers who, shy away from that or don't have a big network can be a bit on the back foot?
100%, because human connection is an energy exchange. And we're now working in a world where you have to be visible. And if you're operating in a virtual world, what does that look like? And so that for me is, if I'm going to hire a freelancer, and I do hire a lot of freelancers in my business, Powerful Steps, and of course, Tourstar along the way as well. A lot of agency networks and freelance relationships built businesses. And the first thing that I do is Google someone. I want to know who they are. I want to know what they look like. I want to know what they're capable of doing. And so when you look at this, the first thing that's going to come up on Google for most people, if they don't have a strong brand profile, is their LinkedIn profile. So you need a standout photo, but most importantly, the first 3 sentences of your LinkedIn bio needs to sell who you are. Like, who are you? What's your superpower? And why should I connect with you? Now, if I go on to that platform and I'm Googling someone and that just does not attract, some kind of passion in me, I'm going to then Google the next person that I've been recommended and I'm going to see what they've done. I'm going to go down the rabbit hole on LinkedIn or, on Google search and find out who is right for me, right? So that energy exchange when you're a freelancer, you need to set it up so that it's pitch perfect, so to speak, with the first click of a mouse, because that's going to be a yes or a no from someone like me as to whether or not I'm going to hire you into my business, or better still, refer you on to other people that I know could also use you within their business.
I think that's really interesting coming from the agency side. Like, what are agency people looking for in terms of hiring freelancers, and how are they assessing you, and your visibility online? We don't often hear about that side, do we, Lynne?
No, we don't. I think it's interesting. I also liked your emphasis about those first 3 sentences, but also a photo. I mean, some people get really thingy about having their photos taken or getting a professional photo, but it's worth the investment, isn't it? Because I think coming from media and coming from magazines where it's so visual, I've always known that. But people who haven't been that front sort of spokesperson, they don't get it. But a good photo is really important, isn't it, Tory?
It's so important because you've got to remember, this is not Tinder, it's not Bumble. This is your professional career, right?
Yeah.
So when we want to see you with your arms around someone or, someone else cut out of that photo, we want to see you in your power zone, right? And so it's really important that you invest in a really good photo. But the other thing that I do as well is, once I've actually seen who this freelancer is, I then go onto their stories and I do some research, okay? Now, if you're a content writer and you're creating good content, that's great, but I want to know that it's got clickbait. I want to know how many minutes people are actually spending on the story that you write, because guess what? That means that if you understand my story, you understand what I'm trying to sell, what my superpower is, I'm going to have an energy exchange. I'm going to have more people coming to me, and I'm going to come back to you because your article worked, and I'm going to want to form a really powerful relationship with you as a freelancer to actually deliver an outcome for my business. Now, that's the biggest mistake, that so many people don't look down the rabbit hole at these figures. Like, even when I'm doing interviews for online publications, I'm always speaking to the publishers and I'm saying, how did my story rank?
Yeah,
Great
idea.
And I just did one for CEO magazine, and I had a great conversation with the writer on the weekend. She came to a photo shoot with me. Be the 3rd story that they're doing with me. Now, the reason why they're doing the stories with me is that audience resonates with what we're actually creating. Now, on average, most people spend 30 to 60 seconds on site looking at an article. On the articles that she's written about me, they're staying there for between 3 and 4.5 minutes. Now, that means that the energy exchange between the questions that she's researched to ask me and the answers that I'm giving is resonating with the audience. And so that's a partnership that we both want to foster and we both want to flourish, because we know by the law of attraction, it's like we're communicating to the same people and the energy is sitting there. So if you're a freelancer listening to this, it's not about just getting all the content out there and hoping that the mud sticks on the wall. It's actually understanding the analytics behind what you're delivering to clients and making sure that you follow up with them and you share with them those statistics. Because once the client understands those statistics, they're going to want more of that magic that you're creating for them.
I think you have to be really proactive to get that information. The only time I've ever had that information was actually from you, Lynne, when you told me that. Remember, I wrote a story for Wiser when you were editor there, and you said this is the highest performing story on our site for the entire year. It might have been the diabetes.
I do remember that. It was the diabetes
one.
And that's probably, I did actually then in that same email, which is great. And we even talked about that particular article last week, is that then I came back and commissioned another one. So it's back to Tory's point, because I knew it was doing well. That subject, you did a good take on it. And it was in my interest as the editor to get some more of that content.
Keep the ball rolling. And also it brought in Michael Mosley, and it brought in a fantastic case study who was really powerful, what she had to say and her sort of story in how she sort of all but eradicated her diabetes. So it did do really well. It's funny, isn't it? We should all be going back and getting that information. I think the case is a lot of editors won't have the time to dig it out or give it to you, or they just won't respond because, it's just another request on their plate, so to speak.
So I disagree with that for one reason. It's that if you've given your time and energy to write something for the site and they've paid you for that, then it's in both parties' best interest to see whether or not it's working. And every single site will have something very different. Like I did a story we were speaking about Robin Foister before we hopped on this call with Women Love Tech. And one of the stories that I did with her in January was about heart-based businesses and why I shut Torstar and trusted my gut instinct because my heart was telling me I was ready for this new journey, right? And so Powerful Steps is all about working from the heart and inspiring, encouraging, and empowering others. And my story that I did with her for a 2-week period was the top rating story. And I said to her, well, tell me why. What else were you writing about? And she said, we're talking about new tech gadgets. And we're talking about, people returning to the office with COVID and they're scared. But she said it seemed that people, their heartstrings were pulled because you were saying, well, what matters to me most is that I wake up every morning and I have a happy heart. And people were encouraged and inspired by that. So every single site's going to have something different, but it's up to the freelancer and also the person doing the interview or who's engaging you as a freelancer to understand what that audience wants so that you can speak to it. And I find that publishers love giving that feedback if the story, like your diabetes story, has done well. It's like, hey, guess what, guys, this works. Can we create more magic?
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I think, well, I always ask for a PDF. Like I've just had one of a story for Inside Out that I did, and I asked, it's just come out, and I asked for the PDF, and I sent it around to all the people that I interviewed for the story, and they all think it's fantastic. And the other thing that they do is then they share it on their social media, and it tags Inside Out. So this is a different sort of metric than the one Tory's doing. But then Inside Out love the fact that all these people are resharing and re-tagging them because that helps their social media and therefore their profile. So it actually makes me look good, and mostly I get tagged as well. So then they think, oh, that's right, Lynne wrote that story, and it all is reinforcing and it's in everybody's interests. I make a note of when things are going to come out because that story for Inside Out I wrote in early December. So it's, almost 2-3 months ago. You forget in between. You've got to make a note of it.
I think as a freelancer as well, some great advice that I would give to your listeners is keep a content calendar of when those pieces are coming out, because you're absolutely right. It's the people that you interview that have the power in terms of their sharing, their engagement. It puts you into a new audience. But also what I say to people is it's really important that you get your network and your community to comment, because when you're actually posting these on LinkedIn, the more comments you get and the longer form comments that people actually give are what actually projects it out into more communities. So it's, even though you've written that story, it's like those 3 sentences that you write when you copy and paste the link, that's going to actually get people into the conversation and engage with you. Now, you got to step outside your comfort zone. I work with this great freelancer at the moment, Kate Halfpenny. You probably know her. I said to her, Kate, I don't want a vanilla LinkedIn bio anymore. I mean, you can say that you've worked with all these brands, but so have a million other people. Can you do something a little bit more fabulous that's going to drive clickbait, but for people to actually see me in a different light? And so the best thing that she did as a freelance journalist was she went off and she researched what was actually working on LinkedIn. And she came back to me and she said, Tory, you've basically nailed telling your story about Torstar, why you started Powerful Steps. And she said, but I think people need to get to know you more. So she came up with this great headline because she asked me all these personal questions. And she was like, Drew Barrymore ended my PR career. And I'm like, my entire life, I've worked with so many celebrities. I never, ever asked for a photo with anyone, except when we were launching Drew's beauty brand out here, and my daughter wanted to come along to the event. And of course, she wanted the photo with Drew. And my only legacy was a photo of me, Drew, and my daughter. But at that moment, I decided that was, I'm done. I've worked with all these amazing brands. I'm ready for the next journey. So Kate used that as the headline. So instantly we put that up, and you can check how many downloaded views, etc., on there. But what she also did was, she spoke about my credibility with brand communications and what I'd done with Powerful Steps, etc. But then she also put this thing in, I was a bride in my 40s. Now people are like, what? She got married for the first time in her 40s? So what she did was she served up, interesting facts. Now at the bottom of that, I do these coffee dates 3 a week with people, one in my network, one that I want to partner with, and one outside my comfort zone. And I encourage people to do that with me, to pick up the phone, to book a coffee date like you did with me, Lynne. Now I'm getting these coffee dates booked in from women all around the world. I read that article about you. That was so great. Now, literally, that's my bio, but that's why they want to connect with me, because it was the copy line. And I wasn't trying to sell them something, even though in a way I was.
Yes.
Telling them a bit of, information about myself that they may not have known. So, that's the brilliance of a good copywriter. It's understanding the audience, but also understanding what's going to engage. And I was so scared about putting that on LinkedIn. And I said to her, oh my gosh, I've never done anything like this before. I was the girl in the little black dress. It's, this is what I do for other people, not for myself. And she said, Tory, trust me, it'll change your life. And it did increase the amount of inquiries into my business. But also I ended up using it in a lot of other formats because it was just such great copy.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
So the virtual coffee dates, you said that you've been having coffee right from the beginning, like for 20 years with people. Yeah. And I know you try and do at least 3 a week, is it? And you're doing them all the time. So tell us how the system works and what you get out of it.
Well, like I said, Torstar, I had no money in the bank and I had no media contacts. And David Jones was my first client. And I'm like, I need to meet people. I need to connect with people. Otherwise, I won't be able to deliver on what I'm engaged to do. So obviously, they knew that I could do it, but I had no connections here because I'd moved back from the UK. So for me, it was all about the power of human connection. But it was also based on my value set. And I think before you even go and connect with people via coffee, you need to understand who you are and what your superpower is. So for me, my value set's always been the same. It's been passion, integrity, and delivery. So clearly I'm passionate about what I do, but I'm also passionate about the people that I choose to surround myself with. Integrity, because I'm a straight shooter. I don't like working with assholes. I don't want to attract them into my life. So I have the option to say, no, I don't want to work with you. And delivery, you're only as good as the last coffee date, the last conversation, podcast, Zoom call, whatever that is. So when you go into a coffee date, it's a mutual exchange between people. But obviously, what you want to do is connect with someone that's going to help build your network. So the first person is always someone within your network. So if you're out there and you're an introvert and you're like, how the fuck do I do this? How do I pick up the phone? How do I connect with someone so that I can start increasing the energy that's coming into my life and the opportunities? Well, look at your current network. You know so many different people. It's like, Rach, she goes, oh, Tory, I feel like I know you from the film industry. That's a connection. That's an energy exchange. That's something that we can follow up on. Now, I'm going to know someone that you know. I'm going to refer someone on to you and vice versa. So first of all, look within your network and tell people what you're doing. That's the best thing. Just say to them, hey, I'm doing this. What are you doing? Understand what the opportunity is there. The second person is someone you want to partner with. Now, partnership is so important now, especially when you're a freelancer. Partnership can be about creating good content. It can be about creating a good podcast. So for instance, today I would call this a partnership call. I want to get into your network. I use freelancers a lot. For me to share my story adds value. Hopefully I'll find a lot of freelancers from this, but I will hopefully give your freelancers information that they can use. Yep. So that's a partnership. It's an energy exchange. It's a mutual exchange, right? So the second one, never ever go into having a partnership coffee just expecting it's about you and what can you get. That's the wrong attitude. It
has to be an exchange.
Yeah.
Yeah, it has to
I
be
love that.
And we get. And then the third one is outside your comfort zone. So, whenever I was traveling around the world with Torstar, and I traveled extensively, one of the biggest things I used to do when I'd always get to LA was I'd have 2 days of coffee dates, completely outside my comfort zone. Here I am, I'm Tory from Torstar. These are my clients. I'd like to partner with you. And the Americans, they have to have a lot of belief in you to say yes to a meeting, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, I often rock up to these meetings with these, you know, powerful people. And again, it was about what can we do together? Now, that's how I got Drew Barrymore as a client, because little did I know from an agency partnership that I set up, where I walked in, and of course, you know, I'm in my outfit, and in LA, it's all about having good nails and good hair. And I walk in, the girl has no shoes on and this amazing dress and sat on a couch, and I felt completely overdressed. I would take my shoes off as well. But little did I know 2 years later, she was going to refer me and say, hey, my girlfriend's launching a beauty brand in Australia. Would you be interested? Now, she didn't say the name or the brand, but she obviously knew, because when I wanted to partner with her agency, she knew the caliber of what I'd done. She knew what I had delivered. She knew I worked with passion and integrity, which is why she sent the email. And I said, yeah, I'd love to help your friend out. Who is it? The next email that comes through, and it ended up being Flower Beauty and Drew Barrymore. Now, you never know when a conversation from a coffee date is going to land you a wonderful opportunity.
Yeah.
So the thing is that outside your comfort zone is always the best. So when you look at your vision board and you say, I'm going to have a coffee date with someone outside my comfort zone today, this could be someone that you wanted to work with years ago that you haven't had the opportunity to work with. It could be someone that you want to interview that you think is fabulous. It could be a number of people. Just pick up the phone. What are they going to say? No. So what? Move on to the next person on the vision board. It doesn't matter. Now, if you commit to 3 coffee dates a week, at the end of a month, that's 12 new contacts and conversations, 12 new opportunities of you putting yourself out there. Now, the other thing that I do is, and you might have seen on LinkedIn over the weekend, I had a coffee date on Friday, partnership coffee date with Sally Obermeter and her sister Maha. Now, Sally and I go way back, right? So she was the woman who I gave access to for the first ever media person in the world to go and see Zara, Inditex headquarters in Spain. No other journalist in the world got access. And by God, we were going to make that happen, the two of us, and we did. So we've got this amazing relationship along the years. But now they've got a multi-million-dollar business called Swish. It's a wellness business. I have a business called Powerful Steps, which is about inspiring, encouraging, and empowering female entrepreneurs to really step outside their comfort zone and into their power zone. Now, what do these women that I attract need? They need to be healthy and well, and they need a strong mindset. So that's a partnership. So we took a little boomerang. I put it up on LinkedIn. The amount of comments, I think there's over 3,000 views on it. And I posted it late Friday. And guess what I wrote? Every week I have a coffee date with someone I want to partner with. These are the reasons why I'm meeting with Sally and Maha. Mm-hmm. Now, off the back of that, even though I've got all these views and these comments, what people don't see behind the scenes is I probably got 8 or 9 direct messages. I'll try the meeting to catch up with a coffee date with you. Can we? Of course, no problem. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. It comes back to that need to be visible, which I think so many of us drop the ball on. If we're busy or whatever, we forget that we need to do that side of marketing for ourselves and keep that ball rolling and keep those connections happening. But yeah, look, I think the one question that everybody will want is, what are the tips when you actually get on the coffee date? Say it's a Zoom meeting or it's on the phone or whatever. What should you do? What shouldn't you do? Do you have any tips? Have you
You've got your coffee there.
Tea?
Don't say you're having a coffee date if you don't be true to your word, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Get that coffee showing. So at the moment, I mean, in the last 12 months, I met women all around the world through Zoom coffee dates. And to be honest with you, that's my preference, because to actually drive out and find a car park and you know, COVID has taught me we don't necessarily have to do that anymore.
Yeah.
So I say it's a 15-minute coffee date, and it's an exchange of information. Let me tell you a little bit about you. Hi, my name's Tory. You know, I started a business with nothing. I built it through connection. These are the clients I ended up with. But then I decided to be bold, courageous, and fearless, shut that business and start another one. And within 12 months, I have a global business. Why? Because I connect with people. Mm. Now I'm having a coffee day with you. I want to learn about you. What are you going to tell me about you? And I always say, how did you find me? And how can I help you?
Yeah.
They're very important questions, because for me and my business, I want to know how people found me.
Yeah, interesting, isn't it? So how do you keep up all those connections without sounding pushy or salesy? Because I think that's what a lot of people feel, and I think that's a particularly Australian, maybe even English thing, that we're worried about the hustle. We're scared of the hustle. I mean, I don't really like that.
Yeah. So if people like you and they enjoy the conversation, they're going to follow you on LinkedIn. They're going to follow you on Instagram. They're going to sign up for your newsletter. I don't hard sell anything, because I'm of the belief that if people want to find you and work with you, it's going to come naturally. It's how I've attracted every single opportunity into my life. That's how I built Torstar into a powerful global brand. People found me. I never, ever pushed. It was based on my reputation. But the difference between me and the little black dress at Torstar, being behind the scenes, making everyone else the centerpiece, is now I've had to look at myself as a brand.
Yep.
So don't be ego driven. It's not about ego. Look at yourself as a brand. And it goes back to those points that I gave you before about make sure you have a standout profile. Yeah.
Yeah.
And don't be afraid to step outside your comfort zone. You can always delete something if you feel uncomfortable later, but try it. See what people want. So when you talk about, not the hustle or the push, all you're being is your authentic raw self. People either like it or they don't like it, right? And so, I give you an example with this CEO magazine shoot that we did on the weekend. The journalist emails me this morning. She posted on her social media and she said in her email to me, Tory, you're never going to believe I have all these friends that want to work with you and they've been following your journey for such a long time. She said, I had no idea. How can I connect them to you? Now, of course, I'm going to say, here's the link. They can have a coffee date with me, but you never know who's watching your journey.
Yeah.
Be consistent, but most importantly, be yourself. Yeah?
Yeah.
I think that's so true. I mean, you obviously are very big on LinkedIn and social media, and you've really got, your system down pat. So you must watch what other people do. What are some of the really big mistakes that you see, say, freelancers in particular or small businesses in particular do when they're trying to connect with others?
Okay, great. I'm not bringing you down, but I'm going to give you the hot tip. Because this is really important, right?
Yeah.
You've got to show up with a good background. So I tell you.
Oh yes, because I don't have my it's because I've got a new computer and all. I had beautiful Zoom backgrounds. Lynne will tell you I was the queen of the Zoom background. But
It's a corner in your house that's always reserved for your image, right?
Yeah.
So if I ever do a TV interview in my home, I always have the same pink painting behind me. I always have the candles burning. It's consistent.
Yeah.
It's
okay.
exactly the same. So people go, oh my God, that painting's so good. And then the guy from Sky News goes, we want to see more of the painting. But I'm like, it's the woman's nude at the top. We can't do that, right?
Yeah.
It's a joke with everyone. But the thing is, be consistent. Your image is everything. So the no-nos that I saw on social media during lockdown were CEOs running multi-billion-dollar businesses conducting Zoom calls, and people, of course, can take a photo and say, hey, I'm doing the meeting with my CEO. They've got a messy dining room table. They've got shit everywhere. What do you think my impression is going to be of that?
Yeah.
Together.
Yeah.
Where you show up and how you show up matters.
Mm-hmm.
So even if you've got all this stuff going on in your house, it's easy. Just get a little corner, make it clean, make it consistent. So that's the biggest no-no. Typos. Can't stand a typo. Yeah. But make it snappy and don't make it about you. You'll notice that whatever I do on social media, it's not about me. It's about giving information to help and empower others. Now, if you want to attract people as a freelancer, start giving away tips and tricks. Start showing people, like, you've got great stuff on your website, Rach. Start sharing it on LinkedIn. Like Lynne with her Inside Out article. It's like you share, but you thank people. So the more people you thank, the more people you include, the more people that are going to like and engage. But it's all about image. I hate to say it, it's about image. But also you want to do things where it's a little bit raw. I remember posting something. I was doing a job for Lynne, the beginning of last year, just before lockdown. I was so tired. I had to get up in the morning. I had no makeup on. And of course, I went and put the makeup on before I hosted the event for them. But I posted this image of me makeup-free debriefing with the event manager. Now people are like, oh, I've never seen a photo of you makeup free. And oh my gosh, is this what really happens on behind the scenes? And I said, guys, let's not be afraid. We all know this happens behind the scenes.
Yes.
No one posts it. So I want to show people that it's okay to be real and show people what actually goes on. But that's a moment, right?
Yes, not permanent.
It's not permanent. It's a moment, because you've got to show people that you're real. If you just show up with a polished look the whole time, they're just going to be like, oh, that Tory's so boring. It's the same pink picture. It's, So it's like creating social content, or it's like creating your 5-point story as a freelancer. Use all the elements that you've got to share with the world.
I was going to ask if you think that there's a gender difference here, because I think women often do more social outings than men, and that women often connect more socially. But I know that men often connect over sport. That's like a classic cliche. But what about non-sporty men? Because I certainly know a lot of the writers and content people that I work with, they're not they're more the bookish sort of, less of the rugby playing sort of blokes. How do you think men connect compared to women?
I'm going to give my husband as an example.
Yes.
So I think before he met me, he was very sporty. I like walking a lot. He's not as sporty, but he's big on the coffee dates as well. But also I have shown him the possibilities when he steps outside his comfort zone on LinkedIn. So before, he was like, as men, we don't do that. We don't share things. And I said, but you lead a team in your organization. You also can share and thank other people for the success that is your business. And so I showed him that by stepping outside his comfort zone and actually sharing the wins and sharing the challenges on LinkedIn, what would the possibilities look like? Now he laughs at me and he goes, I get more likes and engagement than you do, Tory. Yes, you do. But guess what? That's because he's not posting as often as I am. So when
yes.
he posts, it's from a leadership authority positioning.
Yeah.
So for men, in answer to your question, they don't like posting as much as women, right?
Yes.
But when they do, people listen because they have something to say. So if you're a male freelancer, you can take the example of my husband. You post something, but you're inclusive. And the other thing is, his company last week, all the leadership team, they had their photos redone. And I said, you haven't, every year you get these new photos, but your image is 10 years old on your LinkedIn. I said, you don't even look like that anymore. And I said, tonight when you're coming home, I'm going to upload that, but I'm also going to upload your LinkedIn profile. Now, the thing is, most men or people, when they update their LinkedIn profile, instantly people think, oh my God, they're looking for another job. And I said, no, what you're going to do is you're going to show all the people in your team and your organization that when you actually give out really solid information and facts about who you want, what you're actually going to attract back into that organization is going to be good for everyone. And if anyone else in your team who's had their photo wants me to help them with their LinkedIn profile or outsource it to a freelancer from your team, Lynne or Rach, I'm going to refer them on, because it's the power of the communication. So, men don't necessarily want to step outside their comfort zone, but when you show them the possibilities when they do, it's a really good thing.
Yep, I love that.
Wow.
Well, we've covered so much today. We could talk to you all day, Tory, but I think
fantastic.
We're going to have to wrap up. I just want to say one final question. Any final tips that you have for freelancers who may be listening and may think, oh my goodness, where do I even start? I need more work. I need more clients. I'm just not even sure how to start. What do I do?
Oh my gosh, tell them to book a coffee date with me.
Your inbox is going to be full. We will put the connection to Tory's coffee dates in the show notes.
No, I'm actually not joking, because I'm looking for freelancers all the time, because my clients, guess what I say to them? Be more visible on LinkedIn, write really good blog posts, pitch yourself into the media. Now, do you think that a lot of them are writers? They're not. They need people like you. So I genuinely say, book a coffee date with me. And when you actually book that coffee dating with me, show me your superpower. I want to see your click-through rate. I want to see where your work's published. I want to see your success stories, because I will probably, if I see that there's something in it for me, I'll probably engage you for a story. If what you do for me gets results, then guess what? I'm going to refer it on to other people. Or you can pitch to me and go, Tory, maybe try doing something differently, because I'm always open for new ways of doing things. Pitch to me and say, I think you've missed this. Awesome. I want to know how I can be better at my job. I'm open to it. So that's the first part of a conversation, and they should be booking coffee dates with other people doing the same thing.
Yep.
Yeah,
I think you'll inspire everyone to have coffee all over the place. Or even with, well, Rachel is a tea
Maybe not
person.
me, because I'm a tea drinker.
You can have tea with everyone, can't you?
I have this cup as well, because it's got water in it, because I can't possibly have 6 coffee dates in a day.
Yeah, we're climbing the walls. Oh, fantastic. Well, that brings us to the end of the show, but thank you everyone who's listening, and thank you so much for giving us time today, Tory, even with and without coffee. So, and if you like the show, we'll put all the ways to connect with Tory in our show notes. We'll upload it both on your podcast app as well as on Rachel's list. Leave us a review, and thank you. We'll see you next week. Thanks.
Thanks again, and thank you, Tory. Much appreciated.
You're welcome.
Bye.